1, 2, 3, FCA!
Okay, so continue to work on takedowns. Got my grips. A throw that I actually really like to open up with is to use a sacrifice throw, and it works off the same setup as if I'm going for guard pull. So typical Jiu-Jitsu guard pull, I'm going to step in and put my foot up to his hip. What I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to step in close to him with my feet, so that when I go for this tomoe-onage, when I go for this sacrifice throw, I'm sitting right close to him. So I'm back, pull it down as he braces back up. I come in, I put a foot up to his hip, I sit, I bring it in, I drive him over, and I follow him through. I come up into a top position with a lot of control. Okay? What this relies on is not me lifting him with my legs. Body weight is pretty much centered. So the hip line is pretty close to being the center of balance, the center of weight for my opponent. So most of my throws rely on disrupting this central point. When I go for a hip throw, I replace his legs with my legs. I pop my hips in where his hips are. He's equally balanced around the midpoint. If I pull a little bit on his shoulders, he will rotate around the midpoint of his hips. With this tomoe-onage, same thing. When I step in and I sit down and I bring him over me, at this point, his weight is coming forwards. So as I just stretch that a little bit, I'm not having to lift him. Now he talks the whole way through that. There's no real lift happening. I'm making a frame and rotating him over the frame. So that works really well when someone's coming towards me a little bit. What will happen sometimes though is I go for this, and as I step up and I go here, he reacts by bracing his weight backwards. For me now to lift him up and over, now I am going to have to use effort. I don't want to use effort, so I'm just going to switch off, put a hand on his hip, just drive, bring my foot back, and come up inside. Very important, I don't come up one arm down, one arm up, because I'm going to get triangled, but I can come up, control both legs, or pop underneath, and go for my pass. So, two really, really strong options for me. And this is actually something I use a reasonable amount as an opener in a Jiu-Jitsu match. Reason being, my risk to reward is right in my favor. Worst case scenario is I pull for this, I end up on the ground, I miss this grip because he steps back, I'm on the ground with open guard. From here, I could come through, get onto a single leg, get onto a double leg, or go into my open guard attacks. So, my worst case scenario is one of my favorite positions to be in. I'll take that. So risk reward, really in my favor. Okay, on the ground, continuing our theme of getting off the center line. So on last week's class, we looked at using my setup position to go for a triangle. I like to get into this. I'm working hard against him. I'm pulling him down. The timing for this is as he starts to resist and go back up to create posture, I'm going to, instead of creating movement, I redirect movement. It's less effort for me. He wants to move, he starts to move. As he lifts, that's when I hip out, drive across. Come out to the side. We looked at the triangle setup last class. Now I'm going to look at some options here. So first option, this arm has stayed down. I am going to, with my foot on his hip, step my heel into the wedge under his shoulder and start driving down with my knee towards the ground. I can create an arm lock here. A lot of times I can create enough pressure on this arm to make him tap. If I can't get him tapping from there, it's a very simple move from here to just step past his face. Use that to windshield wiper my legs. Bring him across, open him into this space. And lean forward as if I want to whisper something in his ear. And that's my Omoplata. So that's my position 1. Same setup, drive across. This time, this arm starts to come up here. I'm going to encourage it. Thumb down, trapping between my shoulder and my ear. Just create a little bit of downward pressure here. See my foot's come to the middle of his back, and I can help out a little bit with my arm as well. Okay? The big mistake people make here is they try to really kind of keep a guard around him. I don't need that. I could be all the way out here. This is going to come on even stronger. I'm really just like a little koala bear hugging onto this arm. All of my body is now against his arm. Okay, so that's my second attack. I'm going for this. I punch out, I go for this. I'm looking for this arm, but I lose the arm. Second that arm clears past me, I lock behind the shoulder. Hand goes to the ground. I can put this foot down. From here, I got 2 options. I can go up with my hips. I'm going to take his back this way. Or I can roll him towards me, take his back this way. Either one of those is perfectly good options. A lot of the times for me, it depends on relative weight. If I'm the smaller guy, I will climb up and round. If I'm the bigger guy, I'll roll him into me. That's my normal rule of thumb. Depends a lot where the energy is going. In general, this setup position, where I'm getting out to the side, with this arm here, or with this arm here, this is a great place for me to be. I have, he's kissing the mat. I'm nicely opened up, I can breathe, I can relax, I'm relatively safe, I can control him nicely. He is in a really bad position. I could get out to here, I'm at no risk, but from here, I can start looking and seeing how he reacts. As I start working here and I step around here, there's so many different things. He starts turning back towards me, I could turn this into a choke here. There's so many different ways that I could set this up into, working here, this arm comes past, I could rotate around, go for my arm bars. I got so many attack options from that position that it's actually just one of my favorite positions to get into, hang out, see where he's gonna work. So it's a real good base station position for me. Not a lot of good options for him. It's really like, where do I want to get messed up here? So thanks for helping me out. Good training.
Thank you.